Hello, class. My name is ChrisBender. My workplace problem is there is a lack of next generation 911 information in the software services department. A little bit of background. I'm the coordinator of the software services department at Digital Data Technologies, Inc. We provide next-gen 911 wireless and wireline mapping and software solutions used for emergency call routing. We are a 24/7 support department. 2 of the 4 personnel are currently web engineers and don't have the next-gen knowledge that the other 2 personnel have. We're trying to get them up to speed so we can continue to provide world-class support to our next-gen 911 clients. Some of the causes of the workplace problem are there's a lack of time to learn about next-gen 911, its applications and components, and the system diagrams. We don't have any organization of current next-gen 911 documents and the information. The information reaches a lot of internal stakeholders and some external stakeholders. There is no troubleshooting training program, or TTP, and there's lack of time to make one. There's no management buy-in for the training program. Next-gen 911 systems are new, confusing, and always changing with a lot of unknowns. There's a lack of focus. A lot of us are busy with daily tasks and projects. And there's a lot of high-level issues that require a specific skill set and knowledge. Realizing there is a knowledge gap in the department, a troubleshooting training program and next-gen knowledge program is where we want to go to help fill the gaps. Some potential solutions to fill these knowledge gaps are: who will gather the current documentation for the troubleshooting training program? The developers, software services coordinator, software services personnel, or anyone from the business department would have this information. Who would create the documentation or the script for the troubleshooting training program? The same goes here. The developers, software services coordinator, software services personnel, or the business department would have ample knowledge in next-gen 911. And then finally, a solution for the type of medium for the TTP: YouTube videos or internet videos, videos on the intranet, videos hosted on an in-house server, documentation on a server, docs on the internet, PowerPoints on a local intranet, and PowerPoints on an in-house server. Here are more potential solutions. You can see in the affinity diagram, this shows the results of the brainstorm session from the 4 software services personnel. Over 5 minutes, we sat and did a brain dump of all possible solutions. Here you can see the solutions similar to the last PowerPoint. The developers or the software services team would create documentation or training videos. Some of the solutions and products that would be created would be the YouTube videos, documentation, PowerPoint presentation. It talks about having it on the local intranet or out to the public so everybody would have access on the internet. As well, you see the funneling divergent process happens on the chart here. The problem statement: how can we organize next-gen 911 system diagrams and documentation for software applications, along with their components, in order to design and create a troubleshooting training program for the software services department? The funneling process had me answer: who will gather and create high-level bullet point style documentation? It was decided that the coordinators and the personnel from the software services department would create that. Who would create the training program? As well, the software services coordinator and all personnel would be involved in that process. What type of training program would there be? it was decided that a PowerPoint presentation would be hosted on the network and possibly on our local intranet. Rationalizing our solution by using the devil's advocate process, we wanted to answer who will gather and create high-level bullet point style documentation, who will create the training program, and also what vehicle or technology do we want to use for the final training program. The devil's advocate question, why should the solution be implemented, is because we are trying to fill knowledge gaps for Next Gen 911 within our department. As well, the final solution could be used as an onboarding program. What could go wrong if the solution is implemented? It could be very time consuming, therefore wasting company resources, time, and money. Wasting time, money, and company resources is also a list of weaknesses that are risks of implementing the solution. Asking the devil's advocate question, how else could this problem be resolved? It could be resolved by having other people in different departments create the documentation and training program. And finally, who might resist? Well, the other people in the other departments might resist. They might not want to take their time and energy creating the program since it is for our department. When trying to decide which format to use for the troubleshooting training program, we thought documentation, PowerPoint, videos on the internet, or videos on the intranet would be good solutions. When using instinctive and paired ranking, PowerPoint was number one in both of those types of rankings. For the weighted matrix, criteria used were adaptability at point 1, usability at point 2, security and availability at point 4, and thoroughness at point 3. Again, PowerPoint was a clear winner here, and for all three rankings, it was number one. When trying to determine how to implement the solution, a process diagram program chart was used. The plan? Create a troubleshooting training program using PowerPoint for the Software Services Department. Our steps to carry out this plan include researching the information, arranging all of the information, and preparing it for the troubleshooting training program in PowerPoint. How and where will we use this? We are going to use Trello.com or a Trello board to organize the information. Trello is a project management tool that's online and accessible and free. Also, finally, the contingency plan. We're going to limit the research to equal to or less than 2 hours. We're going to try and summarize the documentation as much as possible using bullet points. And the researchers and the editors, we're going to make sure that they have all the resources they need. This includes access to PowerPoint as well as access to the Trello website. So we're going to make sure they have the users and the credentials to get there. The effectiveness of the solution is determined by the effective solution formula. This formula means the effectiveness of a decision is equal to the quality of the decision times the acceptance of the decision. Our decision is high quality and high acceptance because there's buy-in from top management, there's early enthusiasm from software services personnel, especially during the brainstorming process, and finally, there's company excitement that there's a next-gen 911 onboarding tool that people can use in all departments. When determining if there were ethical and environmental considerations, it was determined there were no environmental considerations and no negative social considerations. Ultimately, there was high praise for this project and the solutions to implement the project in order to solve the problem there is a lack of next gen 911 information in the software services department. One final note, thanks class, and thank you Professor Owens.